Welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man who is on the third week of his Garth Brooks juice diet. It's Chris Kelly.
Hi, everybody.
So tell me about this juice diet, Chris Kelly, the Garth Brooks juice diet. How's it going?
Well, it mainly consists of tobacco juice, beer, and sometimes whiskey.
Now, do you put a little juice in it just to say it is a juice diet?
I do put a little bit of lemon in it just to kind of take the edge off.
Well, they do have a lot of those beers now where they have like ruby red shiner beer. You know, they add a little like, Bud Light lime.
You can't trust
Bud Light orange.
No, you don't know what you're getting then.
Wait.
You could be getting a chemical that tastes like lime, but it's really not lime.
So you're doing tobacco juice, whiskey, and juice. That sounds horrible.
Well, it's all natural, so you can take a look at my physique, and then you can take a look at someone else.
Teeth. Your teeth are completely black right now, Chris Kelly.
This is my alter ego, Chris Gaines.
Yeah.
Did you hear that article?
Yeah, he wanted to break away from himself.
The podcast about with Chris Kattan, he was talking about whenever he said Garth Brooks would make a great Saturday Night Live character because he was so good at changing himself.
Yeah.
His first thing that Garth Brooks did on there was he was in full drag and he was completely like open and cool about it. And they're like, wow, he was great. And then it got a little weird when he wanted to perform as Chris Gaines.
Yeah.
Because everyone pitched it as Garth Brooks. He's like, I want to push Chris Gaines.
No.
And they're like, what? So whenever he comes out and, because Chris Gaines looks kind of like...
Chris... yeah.
I don't know how to describe how he looked. He had the soul patch.
A gothy...
You look kind of like emo.
Yeah, emo Brooks.
Emo Brooks. And it just looked... It didn't match. So
yeah. And
they decided
it's kind of like when Aerosmith wanted to do a blues album.
What about the Rolling Stones when they did the blues album?
What is it with bands doing blues albums?
Blues is great. I watched a great documentary on Robert
no, it's
Johnson,
great. But when you go to an Aerosmith concert expecting Aerosmith, and then they play their entire Honkin' on Bobo set list, that the CD's not even out yet.
Or you go to a Rolling Stone show and they play Voodoo Lounge.
Yeah.
Like, why would I go? I don't like that song. Love is Strong? That was a horrible song. They tried to make a comeback in the mid '90s, and it just wasn't. I was not getting my satisfaction.
You deflected from the juice conversation very well. Now I want to say congratulations for winning the bronze in the Scottish martial arts tournament. Now we're gonna get our PG-13 rating here, but the Scottish martial arts, they call it "fuck you," and so it's a tournament where people from all around the world come to Scotland. They go to Glasgow, and it's like blood sport, but you can only headbutt each other, and then once the person falls on the ground, you can kick them. So we learned this in So I Married an Axe Murderer. So the problem is, you were a lock for gold, but then in the semifinal round, you ended up fighting a guy that was like 7'2", and so you couldn't headbutt him. So he just had the height on you, and he just kept dropping bombs on you, and you kept lunging at him with a headbutt. You kept missing. So,
I kept hitting him in the abdomen.
Yeah, and that's not going to knock him out.
Not with that kind of attitude.
I mean, you broke one of his ribs with a headbutt.
Then I had to bronze him.
Yeah.
I got called up.
Then you got the bronze, so it's fitting.
Exactly.
Won. And then, you fought in the
still
third...
have the 7'3" statue in my condo right now. Crashed right through this floor, but,
There should be a height limit in these headbutting competitions, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a fair match if you have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar versus,
Yeah, somebody. Tom Cruise.
Vern Troyer.
No, fighting Tom Cruise. Tom could probably do a flying, lunge from 70 feet away.
Something tells me he's not somebody you would want to mess with.
No.
Tom Cruise, I mean, he just does
Prison rules.
He definitely looks like a scrapper. So it's like...
If I made him mad and we got into a fight, he'd have cardio for days. So I'd be tired after a minute, and then I would just run from him, but he'd catch me.
It'd be like in Jason Takes Manhattan. You think you got away, and all of a sudden crashes right through the window.
He would punch my head off. He would headbutt my head off, like in Jason Takes Manhattan. Punches that dude's head right off and into a dumpster.
Yeah. There's one thing we did learn about Jason Takes Manhattan. There's a lot of toxic waste just hanging out in New York City.
Lots. And
guys just hanging out on the wharf ready to shoot you with heroin.
And if you punch somebody, their head and neck and spine and nervous system and muscles and skin just fly completely off.
Yeah. I mean, that's Mortal Kombat rules.
How hard does Jason hit to do that?
I would think what they say Ivan Drago does in Rocky IV, he can do in the Jason movies. It's 18,000 pounds per square inch or something. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, your ribs are jelly. He did break one of Stallone's ribs in that movie.
I mean, you should be happy that's all that happened.
Your ribs would turn into dust.
That was, I mean, yeah, that was like, because I read that article saying about Rocky IV saying that he wanted to actually be punched so it would look realistic. So, and Dolph Lundgren actually did hit him.
Sure.
And it's like, I mean, shit. I mean, looking at him, I understand Stallone's a tough guy, but holy crap, I would not. Like,
after you grill, right,
man.
and you have that charcoal still sitting on your grate, but then you touch it, it falls apart. That was his ribs.
When pixie dust, right?
Yeah.
the blue kind, when you mix it with the purple kind to get that weird flavor.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like.
Oh my gosh, just shattered.
And just, yo.
And then the doctor went in there, he's like, there's no ribs left.
What's with all this pixie dust?
Thick ribs.
Looks like...
Dolph punched him.
Like, what happened to him? He turned him into a veggie omelet.
So, this movie that we're talking about, So I Married an Axe Murderer, this was a good recommendation. You recommended this, right? Or did I
No, we both did, because I remember I was going to text you, and it was literally the minute that I was texting. I was firing up the text message to send you, and you were like, hey, what do you think about So I Married an Axe Murderer? I was like, holy crap, I was actually texting you to tell you about this movie.
I have very fond memories of this film. The first time I watched it, I did a double header with this and Army of Darkness. And I hadn't watched the Evil Dead movies before either. So I was probably, 14, 13, something like that. Watching So I Married an Axe Murderer. And then I watched Army of Darkness and witnessing Ash Williams for the first time. Like one of my favorite movie nights ever.
That would have been a great movie night.
Blast.
Especially the first time ever seeing these.
Yeah. I mean, I just started, and this is going to be weird. But so in this movie, the amazing Brenda Fricker, who plays Mike Myers' mom.
Yeah, she's a dynamite actress.
She's so good in this.
Yeah.
There's a couple lines that she just nails. But she tells him to get the pickle out of his butt. And I don't know why, but my whole life, I've been telling people, like, when they say something stupid, I'm like, shove a pickle up your nose. I don't say butt. I'll say nose. Like, shove a pickle. That makes no sense. Shove a pickle in your nose. Like, I mean just like a Clausen. Like, it's not a metaphor.
You're not talking about an entire cucumber.
A literal pickle. So now I was watching this and she said it. I'm like, is that where I got it from? Because have you ever heard that saying?
I've never heard that one before, no.
That must have stuck with me.
I mean, the movie has a lot of great lines like that. I mean, I love whenever, I guess I subconsciously took the line from the dad when he said, with somebody with a giant head, and I've seen him, obviously we've all seen somebody with a gigantic head, in real life. But he refers to the sun as an orange on a toothpick. And I've referred to somebody like that as a watermelon on a toothpick before. I thought I just came up with that on my own. Turns out I probably just stole it from this. Or
Sputnik.
Altered it.
It's spherical, but pointy at points. Or wait, no. Yeah, but pointy at certain areas.
He's going to cry himself to sleep on his huge pillow.
If you want my body.
I love that scene.
That bagpiper.
Oh my God.
That might be my favorite. So Mike Myers and Nancy Travis are getting married, or I guess I should call them by the characters' names, Harriet and Stu. But, and Charlie. So Harriet and Charlie, they're getting married, and there's that bagpiper playing Rod Stewart. And he's nailing it. And then he just passes out, and he's like, he's pissed. Bagpiper down. He's just pissed.
I watched this movie with my girlfriend, and she was like, what song is that? Where's that from? I was like, that's a famous Rod Stewart song. And she was like, Rod Stewart did music like that? I was like, whoa. Wow. I keep forgetting there's an entire group of people that just, you picture someone some ways. I guess Rod Stewart is now seen as like, maybe Maggie May is probably, but that in itself is a pretty dirty song. But,
yeah. I got you.
Yeah. There's an entire group of people that see something as something else, and it's like whenever you're like on the chive, they're like, you're getting old, and it says my niece. I was watching old WWF clips, and my niece comes down and she said, "I didn't know The Rock was a wrestler." Like, whoa,
whoa. Wow.
It's like, I guess, I mean, he stopped doing it like in the early 2000s. And
he probably just pops up once a year now. So I mean, no one would really know. And if they see him showing up at WrestleMania, they're probably like, why is that movie star at wrestling?
Yeah, why is the guy from Rampage doing that?
Yeah.
Or Skyfall, or what was it, Skyview?
Wait, Skyscraper.
Do you think he remembers doing any of those? He does like 20 movies a year that are like all kind of the same.
Hey, Rock, can you tell me about that movie faster? No, I forgot about it. In this song too, also in this movie, I love the SATURDAY.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know. This movie, it's been burnt in our memory, and a lot of people have been writing about it lately, really giving it a lot of props.
I noticed in the last year there has been a lot of more articles about So I Married an Axe Murderer, and I couldn't really figure out why. I was like, maybe because it's the 25th anniversary of the film, or maybe it just really has held that test of time, and it's now coming back into people's memories. But it's a fantastic film. I remember seeing this for the first time. It had a brief run in the theater, if I'm not mistaken.
Brief. It made like $11 million
on a $20 million budget.
Yeah.
So that was like, ugh.
Yeah.
That was
after Wayne's World.
And I think I've thought about this, and I think that the reason why it didn't make so much money was that it came out a month after Sleepless in Seattle, which was a massive hit. And that was whenever all the studios were trying to put together, oh, we got a romantic comedy. It's like, yeah, but it's not a Tom Hanks. So then Tom Hanks rode that romantic comedy train for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And I think the last big one he did was You've Got Mail, I think.
Yeah.
And then he went into Castaway and
Larry Crown, which is one of the weirdest movies ever made.
That was bonkers.
But in the 90s, yeah, it was like Julia Roberts, Sandra Bullock, Tom Hanks, like Meg Ryan. They were just banking. They were making money.
And so they tried to get a lot of actors who had either they were just starting or they had fallen off, like Harrison Ford. Remember 6 Days, 7 Nights? Oh, God. Yeah, right. Everybody wants to forget that one. Yeah. Sure, he does too, but they had a lot of fallen stars. Nicolas Cage.
Oh yeah, he was doing those kind of movies. Honeymoon in Vegas, and City of Angels.
He did a lot of it.
I don't want the world to see me.
Everybody. I've yet to meet one person who doesn't like that movie.
When you're in a car, and Goo Goo Dolls comes on, I just completely steamrolled you because I had to get that out. I'm sorry. But when you listen to Iris in the car by Goo Goo Dolls, do not belt it out loud.
You have to. It's hard not to.
I scream it. Like any song. Name, Black Balloon, Here Is Gone. I become, Pavarotti. So
that's a Pavarotti reference for the day. Yeah. I'm allowed one. I'm allowed one per day.
Man, I was going to use it later. But what's interesting about this movie is in 1988, this guy Robbie Fox sold this movie as so this was bouncing around for a while, but it was called The Man Who Cried Wife. So in the original version, the protagonist really does marry an axe murderer.
I did read about that. It was originally written as like a Woody Allen type of character, which I think would have been a very funny film.
I see it. It works.
Definitely. But I guess if they wanted to since they wanted to use Mike Myers, who was fresh off of doing Wayne's World and fresh out of, Saturday Night Live-ish, kind of, they wanted to more show his character and his comedy stylings, which, I mean, both versions work, in my opinion. I would be interested in watching The Man Who Cried Wife. I think that would be a fairly interesting.
I like this quote. She was great at a dinner party, bright, funny, great cook. Other than the stabbing, she was the perfect wife. And I mean, that's like, but they said that he wanted $8 million and the studio wanted to give him $6 million, Woody Allen. And then they had a stalemate and he went and made some other movie because he used to make 47 a year.
Curse of the Jade.
Maybe Bullets Over Broadway?
Was that?
Because that was 94.
Yeah.
So, but this is earlier than that.
88. It would have been like, was that Curse of the Jade? Oh, that would have been like 80.
It was the Hank Stevens movie.
Starring Chuck Finley, right?
Yeah. Hey, you saw that.
Saw it. Here's the tattoo. Yeah.
So, and also, what's cool about this movie is, I kind of read some really cool stuff about comedy. And so Mike Myers and the director, the guy, Thomas
Schlamm, who's the current president of the DGA.
Yeah. And he's won 9 Emmys. He did all the West Wing Sports Night, Snowfall, Studio 60 Sports Night, ER, Spin City. He directed Mambo Mouth, the Broadway show that John Leguizamo did. He did all the walk and talks of Sorkin's movies.
He also did a ton of stand-up comedy shows, which were Whoopi Goldberg, Gilbert Gottfried, and all the, that would have been, he obviously knows how to shoot stand-up comedy, so, his natural move would be with Mike Myers.
So I guess they had a lot of problem on set, though, because...
He wanted to shoot a more serious
a real
film.
Movie.
Which, if you look at it, it would be... he said in the article that I read
by Spin, is that the one?
Mental Floss.
Got it.
It was from Mental Floss. He said that he wanted to make a movie that was for 30-year-old men or older, and this movie was not meant for 12-year-olds. Yeah, and that's kind of what he felt that Mike Myers wanted to make this movie. It was more for like a younger audience, but it's like, how do you make killing funny? I thought they did a great job, but I guess Thomas wanted to make more of a serious film. Or not more serious, I guess you should say, more like tone it down a little bit, not so much the the Jerry Lewis type of comedy that Mike Myers was pitching.
Is Scott